What's going on if you have a situation where you have received an RFE on the top of your notice will say request for evidence or notice of intent deny? You want to watch this show. You want to stay tuned, okay? Because there are serious problems. First of all, don't respond to the document, okay? This is USCIS giving you an opportunity to respond with evidence. They're essentially telling you what you sent so far is just not going to cut it, folks. How to stay informed when in anticipation of your USCIS sending you a request for evidence. Because I would hope that when you're preparing your file, essentially that you know that you might need to send some evidence in. So some of y'all are pretty proactive. You're like, man, I just wanted to send it in so maybe I can get the work permit, but maybe I didn't get the medical, or hey, I didn't really have that many joint bank account statements at the time I filed, but now I do, right? So you're wondering, well, how do you get that file? So generally speaking, you wait for the RFE, but you just have it ready because who knows? USCIS might just waive your interview and just approve it. You never know. But the more proactive you are, the better, right? So wait for that RFE. But let's say one other thing you should know. Some of y'all call us and let us know, like, whether you're a client or you're thinking about allowing us to assist you. You're like, shoot, John, I've moved already. It's been like 2 months. You already forwarded your address with USPS. But look, that's not enough, okay? If you have a USCIS application on file, you need to submit online. You can just Google search AR11. Now, if you have a court case, it's even more critical, because if you get order removed and you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't know about a court hearing. Well, the first question we ask as attorneys is, did you update the court system? Right? Did you notify the government attorneys? You have to do both, by the way. You have to notify the court, which we call EOIR. You just Google search that too. We call it E33. Or if you don't remember the letter and numbers, that's okay. Just immigration court or EOIR, change of address. You need to notify them, okay? If you call in USCIS or the court system, they're not going to help you. They might pretend to help you. They may be friendly. I would hope they're friendly, but being friendly doesn't mean they're actually doing what you're supposed to do. So those are some tips you need to know, because we receive calls about that, like, oh, I told USCIS officer and they're going to update the system, but updating the system doesn't mean it's done accurately for the purpose what you need it to be done for. I know it sounds confusing the way I phrase it, but essentially the responsibility is up to you, okay? The burden is on you to get it done correctly, okay? So the key thing here is, if you're changing your address, is you gotta do it online. I think with the court, let me see if we can find it right now. E33, I thought I saw something you could do it online these days, but I could be wrong. Otherwise, it's the old school way to submit it by paper. It looks like you can. Looks like you can do it online. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, so who would have thought the government actually is updating their systems? That's good. But they're not good to update your case in terms of progress, like Domino's Pizza Tracker. Let's see here. So an RFE situation. Okay, so I hope I drilled down the situation, but change of address, because a lot of people get in really bad situation, legally speaking. So that's a huge problem. Okay, you don't want to be order removed. You want to be notified of the next court hearing. And so, yeah, anyways, I won't go on that rant. But the second thing you need to know, go on these live shows. It doesn't have to be me only. There's plenty of attorneys on going live, or find a way to talk to a lawyer, okay? Because a lot of people don't reply to the request for evidence. So I think I mentioned that's tip 1, but I'll mention it again. This is how important it is. You need to respond to the request for evidence. And if you already thought, like, okay, I know I need to hire a lawyer for this, I need to at least have a strategy session, consultation with an attorney, but don't wait till the last week, okay? Because if some of y'all wonder, well, why is this attorney charging me so much money? It's because you waited till last week. Okay, don't do that to yourself. Your legal status is on the line. And let's say you're in a situation like, okay, you got married, and there's no concern about like overstay, in the sense you're getting sponsored by someone else. Not going to go down that rabbit hole, but you might think, oh, I could just refile it. Fine, I'll just refile. If you're that nonchalant, then I guess I wish you the best. But if you're, because then you refile, you got to pay more fees, right? You got to repay the fees. USCIS is not going to give you a refund. Some people have asked that, and I think that's honestly hilarious, because I like to share the context of the situation. Every time there's a talk of government shutdown, USCIS is not concerned because they are funded by you, by the applicant, okay? Congress does not pay USCIS. They don't get any money, which you actually would think that the Congress should fund it, but they don't. They just rely on your application fees. So no, there is never a such thing as a refund. Now let's talk a little more practical situation here. Let's say you received the letter in the mail, request for evidence, RFE, and you're looking at it, you're reading it, you're like, what the hell is this mumbo jumbo legal jargon? And of course, with us attorneys, we think it's usually straightforward. Like, we read it, we understand what they're asking for. But sometimes when we mention to the, whoever calls us, we have a strategy session or client, and the person's on the other side of the conference call is like, John, I read this, but I just don't get it. We understand, because you don't practice immigration law. This is what we do every day. Okay, it's all in English, but sometimes even U.S. citizens don't know how to comprehend something like request for evidence, and sometimes a notice of intent to deny. Because first of all, first thing we do is make sure, is the information they're asking for even correct? Because sometimes the USCIS officer have copy and pasted information, facts about another case that's not even under our law firm or this applicant, this client. Yeah, it's crazy. So you might think like, am I going crazy here? But most of the time they get it correct, like it's your case and whatnot. But just want to give you some ideas. Like, don't completely stress out.